Kate Peck and welcome to the AusMoto show, where we bring you the incredible stories of Australia's fastest men and women on two wheels. We have an action-packed show for you today. Off-road on dirt bikes, on track with superbikes and overseas with Speedway. So get comfortable. Coming up, in the studio, Shop Yamaha Off-Road Racing's Josh Green, one of the country's best off-roaders who's leading the E2 class of the Yamaha Australian Off-Road Championship presented by MX Storm. I head to Queensland for the launch of KTM's 2023 motocross range and catch up with Nathan Crawford, KTM's MX2 racer in the Penrite Pro MX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. We present the Motorcycling Australia's first ever Women's Circuit Racing Academy at Wakefield Park, with the aim of getting more women on the grid of ASBK. And we hear from Team Australia's Speedway World Champion Jason Doyle, Under 21 World Champion Max Frick, and FIM Oceania Champion Jack Holder, who are soon to be battling it out at the FIM Speedway of Nations. Remember to follow along on socials using the handle and hashtag AusMoto Show. Send us in your weekend moto pics and anything with two wheels. And first up, he's one of our greatest off-road racers. He's an AORC champion. It's Shop Yamaha Off-Road Racing's Josh Green. Josh, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me, Kate.
Now you've been on the scene for many, many years, but how did it start for you back in the day when you were a teeny tiny Josh Green?
Well, I went to school with Luke George, so he was a really, really fast. He's won Australian motocross championships and everything. He's a really great rider and guy, and I went right through school with him. So I think I was at the age of 6 or 7. He sort of come to school one day and said, "We've got a Pee-wee for sale, you should buy it." And at the same time, his parents had rang my mum and dad and said, "We've got a Pee-wee for sale, you should buy it." So I ended up having a ride at his place that afternoon, and Mum, can we get it? Dad, can we get it? And we got it, and pretty much snowballed from there. So I had 3 motocross clubs that we used to go and race at, and yeah, basically motocross from there.
And you had a few legends attending those rounds as well, right?
For sure. You know, Craig Anderson, Chad Reed, all those sorts of guys were there, and it was before, before Chad had gone overseas and raced and everything. So it was kind of, a big deal back then.
Now, you've had a pretty interesting time in terms of the level of competition that you've had to race against. Basically, a whole bunch of world champions. First, tell us who you have raced against, but also who's been the most challenging racer to compete against?
I mean, they're all challenging in their own ways. I started, there was guys racing off-road, older guys like Damien Smith. I used to have the biggest battles with him, and he's now racing, vets and masters in our AORC championship still. But at the time, King Kirk Hutton, Ben Carney, there was all these guys that were, mid-20s, and I was 16 going, I need to beat these guys. So I had really big rivalry with those guys early on. You've got Daniel Milner, he's gone on to win 6 days and win outrights and, win so many championships. Matty Phillips, he come out of nowhere and all of a sudden was, he's won, world championships. The level just keeps getting higher, and people just keep working it out and going fast. So there's a lot of huge names, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more.
Now, you mentioned all these amazing world champions, but how do they get to this level? Is it through riding and racing in the AORC?
Yeah, I believe so. Like AORC has a huge variation of every, terrain and, different events from cross countries to enduros to sprints. We've got so much, different aspects of the championship that can send you America GNCC racing or World Enduro or, even to Dakar stuff as well. It's all comes from this AORC championship, and for sure it's proven. Like, look how many riders have gone from it and gone on to win world titles and Dakar rallies and GNCC races and stuff like that. So
it's been 11 years now with Yamaha. You've brought in one of your 450s, but tell us about working with the brand, because after that long, I mean, you really must love the product.
For sure, I love the product. They're really good bikes. They have a really good standard platform to work off. My bikes are relatively close to standard considering we're racing at the highest level. The 450 suits me. I do enjoy racing the 250. I really love the 250, but I'm a bigger guy. There's lots of young guys coming through on 250, so I sort of stick to the 450 bike. And I gel with it. I really just like the way the bike works. I like everything about it.
Now, Europe. So you went there as a junior, right? How did that all happen? Because it's the dream of most people to head on over to Europe and go racing. So tell us about your story and your success over there as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, as a kid, I wanted to race World Championship. I bought the DVD every year and watched the World Championship. And, you know, I saw guys like David Knight and, you know, people like that. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'd love to go there. And at the end of '09, I had the opportunity to ride a TM, which is an Italian bike. And I had a really good guy in Australia, John Hall, who was actually one of the guys that started the 4-day. He imported TM into Australia. So he put it together, got me a deal over in Europe racing TM, and I got the chance to go and race World Championship. So at 19, I sold up. I packed a gear bag and I flew to Ireland. I met a guy I'd never met before, moved in with him and started riding dirt bikes again. And yeah, I raced World Championship for a little over a year there. I won a round, I podiumed a few rounds in the junior category, so I was pretty excited, and I was hoping to stay there. But at the time, GFC was going on, there was a few things going on, a few bike problems, and I ended up coming back to Australia, and yeah, here we are.
We've just had rounds 5 and 6 Mendoran of the AORC Championship. You've been dominating the whole time in the E2 class. You're 10 points ahead of Todd Waters, who took both wins on that weekend. How bad do you want this championship, and how dangerous do you think Todd is going to be for the rest of the season?
I want it more than Todd does, for sure. Todd and I have got some good banter, but I definitely want to win. I like I said, I don't have long left in the championship. I want to win as much as I can. It's always been the goal, and I'm pretty heavily driven. We knew Todd was going to be super fast at Manduran. He's a really good sand rider, and you give that guy some room to move, like a motocross event, he's fast, and we knew that. So, I mean, the next round's another sand race. I think it's a bit more tighter. We've raced there before. It's a lot tighter, more of a single trail sort of trail. So I think I'll have, you know, a bit more of a chance to match him, and if not beat him in that sort of situation. But then we go to Tassie, we go back into the grass and the slippery tight stuff, and we know Toddy doesn't really like that stuff. So, you know, it's going to go down to the line for sure, because we've got 2 more sand rounds and then 2 more, you know, grass track rounds, and I'm sure Todd's going to be working hard to improve on his weaknesses, and just like I'm going to try and improve in the sand and try and step up to beat him at the next round. So I think it's going to be a good wrestle all the way to the end of this one. So I'm excited.
Now, we've got the international 6-day Enduro coming up, which is basically the Olympics of Enduro racing. Yep. This is not your first rodeo. What's the experience like? And tell us about the success that you've had racing in the ISDE.
Yeah, I mean, the 6 days, brutal. It's a really gnarly 2 weeks for all of us. So, yeah, we pack up, we fly in, we walk tracks for 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So we've got to learn all the special stages, because we don't get sighting laps at world level events. You're racing stuff blind straight up. So we need to know exactly where we're going over crests and around corners. And you can imagine there's anywhere up to 10 sprint laps, 6, 7, 8 Ks long. So we're walking all of those tracks multiple times to learn them. So before we even start racing, we're all tired. Our legs are all sore. We're all struggling to get up in the morning. The physio hates us on board. She's like sick of rubbing legs, because we're all just tired. We've all got blisters. You know, we've worn shoes out in a week. So it's a huge, before we even start, it's huge. It's a massive ordeal. And then we race for 6 days, 8, 9 hours a day, 200 plus Ks, you know, racing against the fastest guys in the world. So we're all going to be putting on the line for that. I really enjoy the 250. I really love racing that bike, and I don't really get the opportunity here, as I'm an older guy and I'm a bit bigger. So usually it's the young guys coming through like Kyron that gets the 250 gig, and so I'm excited to get back on a little bike and just rev the life out of it and really enjoy racing that event. So
just send it.
Yep.
Off-Road Advantage is your coaching program. Why did you start it, and what are the goals there?
I started it back in the day. I used to do a little bit of side coaching with Stephen Gall. So he's a really good friend of mine, and you know, really good. He sponsors me as well with the knee braces. So I got involved with him. I just started coaching, and I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people, and so I started my own. I bought my own property back in 2015, and basically the goal was to start a complex to train and to teach people to ride. I train all levels. I train from your beginners, trail riders, weekend guys, up to pro racers, and I get a kick more out of the your beginner and trail ride guys because I can teach them so much in one day, and get them from a level that's from here to here in such a small amount of time. Whereas the pro guy, I'm beating them with a stick for a second a lap. We're working really hard just to improve them. So, but I enjoy it all. I enjoy the whole lot of it, and it's good for me, especially with the elite guys. From Will Rupright to Michael Driscoll to Blake Hollis now. I've got Jet Young, I've got Campbell Hall, I got Luke Hamilton. I got all these young kids that from 85s to 250Fs, and they're all pushing to beat me and take my job, and I'm still pushing to get away from them because I still want my job. So it keeps me young, it keeps me challenged, and I really enjoy that side of it as well.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us in the studio, and good luck for rounds 9 and 10 in South Australia.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure, and thanks. I'll see you guys there.
Yep, and don't you go anywhere because we have plenty more coming up. KTM's Nathan Crawford, Motorcycling Australia's Women's Circuit Racing Academy, and Team Australia's Speedway. See you soon. Welcome back to the AusMoto show. Lucky me has been sent north to the launch of the KTM 2023 motocross range at the iconic Conondale motocross track with Penrite Pro MX MX2 racer Nathan Crawford, because someone's got to teach him how to race. Let's go find Nathan and check out these beasts. Hello, stranger.
Hello.
Nice to see you. How good is it to be out here in Conondale Motocross Track launching this exquisite range of KTMs behind us?
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, yeah, like you said, we're out here at Conondale. It's pretty much, I think in my eyes, the best track that we have out as far as, venue goes. We got the hills, the mountains and everything like that. So I think it's an unreal track, and yeah, obviously we're out here launching the new 23 KTM, so really couldn't really be having a better day.
Totally. Now, before we get onto the bikes, let's talk about round 6. Your first race back at the national level in 6 months, your debut out with KTM. How did it go? Was it fantastic to get back out there and race in anger again?
Yeah, really, it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, I had basically one mistake that I wasn't happy with all day, but that was just a little tip over in the first race. But it didn't really change my overall result for the end of the day. So on the podium in second was like basically best case scenario for me, coming back off a 6-month injury. So everything with the team ran super smooth. I really couldn't have asked for anything more from them guys, and obviously the patience that they've given me over the last 6 months too, to let me do my thing and get better. So I really couldn't have asked for a better weekend there.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about the bikes, because we've got this beautiful range behind us. There's 6 different models. 250, 450s. I mean, you're a 250 guy. Give us your take on the 2 new 250s that they've displayed here.
Yeah, well, like you said, we've obviously got 6 different models, range from 125 all the way up to 450. We've even got the 300 two-stroke, which is good. But as you said, yeah, my picks are the 250F and 250 two-stroke. The new 250F actually feels really good. The engine itself, the way it runs and how clean it is, and it just feels really nice and free, and that's a cool thing. For me, while I love the 250F, I definitely like the two-strokes. So I've spent most of my time on the two-stroke today. And something new with the 250 two-stroke, they have a rev limiter now, which is new to the bike, which I think is pretty unique, especially for a two-stroke. So yeah, that bike's been a lot of fun, honestly. I've ridden all the bikes today and I haven't disliked any of them, so really good.
For me, I think they look good, but how do they ride, I guess, is my next question.
Well, we're out here at Conondale, so you're going to have to get out there on the track and see for yourself.
here at Cottondale Motocross Track, and for the first cab off the rank for me, I've chosen the 250 SXF. We're about to go out on a sighting lap, and I'm going to send it really slowly. I've ridden all 6 models now, 2-stroke and 4 as the KTM line goes. I reckon I'm ready to race, but it's time for a change of terrain as we head down to Wakefield Park for our first ever Motorcycling Australia Women's Circuit Racing Academy with the aim of getting more women on the grid for ASBK. Check this out. Welcome to the inaugural Australian Women in Motorcycling Circuit Racing Academy. The first step to seeing more women lining up on the grid today is an introduction to the world of motorcycling as a sport. And they are going to be learning from the best in the business.
We've got a number of world champions come out today, and Peter Goddard, Steve Martin, Gemma and Jess from the ISDE team. So I think we've got about 13 world championships amongst them.
So when you exit here, literally, it doesn't matter if you're tight or wide. It doesn't really, in my mind, change the lap time too much.
I'm here at the first Women's Racing Academy for Motorcycling Australia. So yeah, we're bringing some new girls into the sport, hopefully, get more girls on bikes and get them out on track. And yeah, bring some girls over from Enduro and off-roading and give them a taste of the road and see what they think of it here at Wakefield Park.
This is a big day for you.
Yeah, it's massive. I'm actually that excited to get out. I'm like a little kid all morning, just wanting to get out on track, walk on the track, and everyone walking me through about the bikes. It's such a different, feel to what I'm used to, but I can't wait. I'm ready to go.
Jess Gardner, you're in my group. You overtook me. I was really annoyed.
That was so fun.
I know, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first few laps I was like a little bit unsure, didn't know the limits, and I'm like, I'm just gonna send it. And I had a little, slow as ever. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool.
It's actually my first time on track ever, so first time here. Well, here I am having a crack. I raced dirt track growing up, so it's about time I do something different. The world is my oyster and it's just about to begin.
I feel like racing is definitely in my future. It's definitely in my blood. I mean, yeah, I could probably see myself taking the next step with it.
One of the positive things for us here in Australia is that we are actually one of the highest participation rates for female, right behind the French and actually in front of the Americans per capita. So we are actually quite strong, but there's always room to improve.
Yeah, so this event wouldn't be possible without FIM Oceania and without the support and the funding from FIM globally. You can see over there the Women's Commission's flag is flying high, and this is one of many programs that the FIM are running around the world, building participation of women, particularly in road racing at the moment, to get more women out there on the track.
After the break, we catch up with Team Australia. Jason Doyle, Max Frick, Jack Holder and team manager Mark Lemon from Europe. From land far, far away, the Speedway of Nations 2022 Team Australia joins us on Zoom. Boys, it's great to catch up with you again. You must be so pumped to be heading to another Speedway of Nations. Jason, it's about time for a win, am I right?
Yeah, it's been a long time. For myself, I haven't had a gold medal in any team's event, so yeah, that's the goal for us boys. And after last night, it just shows that we've got 2 young boys who are eager to hopefully get a gold as well. So we've done really well. The pressure is now on other teams to qualify, and we'll see how they go tonight.
Jack, you've recently stepped up to join Max and Jason in the Speedway Grand Prix World Championship full-time this year. How's the debut year been going?
You know, it's quite it's very difficult. You know, you've always wanted to be there as a little kid, so you know, it's quite overwhelming. But yeah, just, you know, I'm going all right. I'm just hanging in there, making a semi-final. I made one, so that was good. But yeah, you know, it's tough as, and you know, they're the best riders in the world, and that's where I want to be. So yeah, hopefully a few more semi-finals and hopefully a final, maybe, or 2. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's good.
Max Frick, you've taken your second career Speedway Grand Prix win this year in front of 50,000 people in Poland. What was that experience like, and what are the fans like over there?
Yeah, for sure. Warsaw was an unreal night for me. It's really cool to be able to get my second GP win in a stadium like Warsaw and in front of so many spectators. It was a really awesome feeling and something, you know, that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So that was an awesome achievement for myself. But now I need to try and back that up with a few more.
Jason, you're captain again this year. What are your expectations for the track, for the competition, and how you guys are going to work as a team?
For myself, obviously it didn't go too good for me last night, but as you said, we're a team, and the young boys come through and just done an amazing job. The track was a little bit different to practice, but the boys really settled in the last few rides and got it dialed in. So it's a track that can throw the upsets with like Finland come in and done an amazing job, and obviously you don't need to have a lot of power in our engines. So I guess the top boys have got different engines to a lot of the other nations what are a little bit weaker. So it just showed last night that anyone can win races on a very slick track.
Mark, there's always high expectations on Team Australia. You guys killed it in the semi-finals last year, but then Great Britain took the win in Manchester. Who do you see as your biggest competition this year?
Well, last year, I think we want to forget that one, to be quite honest, and we focus on this one. You know, the boys have had bronze and silver in the recent years. It's been like 20 years since we won gold. So, yeah, this is a new day, a new era with Discovery Sports, you know, taking over the running of World Championship Speedway. And as you can probably see by all the backdrops and all the sort of extra camera angles, it's quite exciting, and everyone's sort of got a real buzz about the place. But, you know, we had the semi-final. We won that. You know, the boys worked really awesome as a team. You know, as far as the plan, I wouldn't say the plan was straightforward, but at the end of the day, we went there as a target to qualify for the final. So that was we ticked that box, and I think we just keep on working on the process. And if the process, you know, pans out well, you know, at the end of that's a gold medal. So that's the plan.
Max, although this is Jack's first Speedway of Nations, you've actually all been teammates before, and you and Jack have been teammates in the Under-21 World Championship. How's the team dynamic going?
I think Doyley's got us covered on most of that. But, you know, it's really cool. Everyone's working well as a team together. I think last night really showed that. It was great. We were able to give everyone a spin last night and be able to kind of dial in our equipment. Hopefully that helps us come Saturday. So we'll have to see how that goes in regards to the event. You know, I think we're all ready for it. A little bit of luck on the night always helps, but I think we're capable of doing the job.
No brakes, no gears, no fear. Boys, good luck out there. We will be watching.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Now let's take a look at the Motorcycling Australia National Championship calendars. The Yamaha Australian Off-Road Championship, presented by MX Store, hits Kingston in South Australia for rounds 9 and 10 on September 17th and 18th, after the unfortunate cancellation of rounds 7 and 8 at Nowra due to weather. The Penrite Pro MX Championship, presented by AMX Superstores, arrives at Queensland Moto Park on August 14th for the penultimate round 7. And round 5 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul sees us in Morgan Park on August 5 to 7. The competition will be fierce here. Make sure you get yourself trackside, buy a ticket and catch all the action. Stacks of excellent racing on in the next couple of months. Head online to your favourite championship website for all the details. Well, that wraps up another episode of the AusMoto Show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kate Peck and we'll see you next time.